Good morning, Letitia King family. How is everybody? I am fine. My knee's getting better. Um, I got like gout in my knee and I couldn't bend it. It was hard to put my socks on. It was hard to stand up. Uh, Throbbing in bed the other night, but now took my colchicine, took my Motrin, and it seems today much better. It's funny with gout. I got gout in my Achilles, and you think that I screw up my Achilles, where you get a pain in your knee and you go, is this just gout or is this, did I pull a ligament or something? And then when it goes away, you go, okay, good, everything's fine. But I don't know. I'm doing a better fast. Like I'm starting to eat now. It's 11 o'clock, 11:30, and then I'll have dinner, and then I'm done at like 7 o'clock, and that's it. And the only reason I'm late is because I went to the pool late yesterday. I didn't think I was going to go. I didn't think I could get there. Couldn't get my shoes and socks on. But then I noticed if I'm sitting, I can't put them on. But if I'm standing, I don't know what it is. Maybe more support. I can lift my left foot up enough to get my shoe and sock on. Today, it's like I said, it's much better. All right, let's look at how gold and silver finished yesterday. So we've got silver roughly at 70, 69, 77, and we got gold roughly at 45, 44.93. It did go up at 10, and then it starts coming down at noon and then goes back. And all this is paper. So why do I differentiate paper versus physical? Because paper's options. And if we go right to the cement, the demand and the supply, like I say, there's 200,000 tons of gold in physical, but in supply, in paper, there's like 1 million tons. So obviously, with more supply, the price is down. So the price for physical is really much higher than it is in paper. But how many people know that? They don't talk paper and physical gold. If you ever listen to any of these finance guys or news guys, CNN or ABC or Fox or half the Andy Scheckman and these guys, they don't understand it and they don't talk about it. They just say gold's 4,500. And notice how I make sure you know physical versus paper. This is a paper price, not a physical price. And I want to hammer that home because people think, oh, it's even Egon said yesterday, well, it's correcting. No, it's not correcting. These are options being sold because the price went up and they can make money shorting the options. But this is not a correction. In the paper world, it's a correction. In the physical world, it's retarded because nobody's selling their gold. Why is the price going down? It doesn't follow the law of Austrian or classical economics. It's the same thing. I don't think Alligator understands that either. He calls it classical economics, but he doesn't connect that it's actually Austrian economics. They're exactly the same. It's just a different name. So with that, they'll say it's a correction or profiting. They don't get it that it's paper. It's options being sold. It is not physical. In the law of economics, if the supply is X and the demand is higher, the price will go up. Period. Has the supply for physical gold gone up? No. Paper gold, yeah, sure, goes up all the time. And if the supply is even, as in physical, and the demand is higher, the price has to go up. That's why it's going up, not because of inflation. Again, not understanding there's three rules of prices going up. One is money printing, making the value of the dollar drop, which makes you need more dollars. But that's not what's happening in oil, and that's not what's happening in gold and silver. In oil, supply short, demand's the normal, price goes up. In gold and silver, supply is the same, demand is higher because everybody's getting into it, price goes up. That's in the physical world. However, we're playing a different game right now with this paper bullshit. And this is why we're all frustrated, because We see the paper market being pushed down because these bankers are taking options. They're selling, they're shorting, and that's the problem with it. We need to get into a physical price for this. Why this is priced in paper is beyond me. It's beyond belief. It's the stupidest thing. It's the most corrupt thing I've ever seen. Yeah, Mark, we get it. That's what's going on, and you just have to accept that that's the way it's priced. And I say bullshit. I'm not accepting the thievery and corruption. I don't accept that. You might. I don't. It's bullshit. However, what we know is the physical price will win, and we're waiting on the physical price to get priced. It's the only item I've ever seen, maybe oil, that doesn't go by supply and demand rules. Um, if the supply of gold never goes up and the demand is huge, why would the price ever go down? It can't. That's why it should just keep running. And the same with silver. The demand is huge, as we know, because it's industrial and financial, but there's no more supply. They've been running 8 years. The supply hasn't met the contracts. And now, with the additional batteries and solar panels and everything else, military use for silver, the demand's through the roof, but yet the price is down. What? You want to live in a fantasy world, Mark? Go ahead. I don't. That's a bunch of bullshit. No, you can't price fix things. That's illegal to price fix. And it's also stupid. So we just hold on, and we know there's far less supply of physical gold and silver than there is of the options. The options aren't real, and the options to be controlling the price is absolutely insanity. Notice how they've never really let gold run. I don't know, the value in the Roman Empire was on the Appian Way. You'd buy a goat, you'd buy milk, togas for your toga party. John Belushi, I think, was there. So you would have that, and it would be the same. There wouldn't be any inflation. Inflation happened when they started debasing the currency. For all you folks, the basement is taking the gold and silver out of the coins. You tell me where there's gold or silver in this, and they're taking it out. They're inflating the money, not debasing it. As soon as I hear that, I realize the person speaking has no fucking clue what they're talking about. John C., good morning. So that's the key to it. So, but since 1913 with the central bank, that's when you started having inflation. So the whole 1800s, we're on the gold standard. The whole world for most of the time. That's why we went high in technology and improved as a civilization. Was because of that. It was like 5% a year growth, which is unbelievable for the world, because we're on the gold standard, because you didn't have inflation. 1913 comes, the Fed comes in, and all of a sudden they don't know what to price gold. And they're printing money, and they're happy as a lark, and it's totally corrupt. It's totally illegal, because we're a constitutional limited republic, and there's nothing in the Constitution about a central bank or to get off of gold and silver. So all of a sudden, J.P. Morgan comes up with 1913. It comes up with the Federal Reserve and income tax, and everybody gets fucked by this asshole. And now what you have is they don't know how to price gold, so gold's $20 an ounce. And then FDR takes it from you. You can't take it. I mean, it's not legal to take it. Executive order, that's bullshit. So again, we can't own gold, and then he raises the price to 35 an ounce. Okay. And that's where Fort Knox came from. He steals 8,000 tons of gold from us. If I was around in 1932, 33, I would never have given up my gold. They don't know you have it. They can threaten you, means that they have no idea who has it or why. And so you just would keep it. And then it came back into play. And when the war ended, the US dollar was backed by the 8,000 tons that they stole, but you still couldn't own gold till 1972 or 1973. But then it started to go free market and went up to $800 an ounce. And that's where COMEX came in. Wait, we got to keep that gold price down. So you see where it ran in like a couple of years from 35 to 800. That's the power of gold, and you really haven't had it now. And the only reason we're doing it is because Brooks is demanding it, not because of the inflation. So again, inflation doesn't cost it takes more dollars to buy the gold, but how do you get to 4,500 now, or 5,000 soon, or 10,000 soon? How do you get to that price? That's based on demand. And the demand won't stop because you have to have it, because the dollar is worthless. Which leads you to so the value of gold, if you let it run, would run substantially higher than it is. The banks holding it is just totally illegal, because there's nowhere in the Constitution, and that's where I'm getting my law from, says you have to have gold currency. You cannot have paper, because they saw what was happening. They saw the French and the Spanish and the Romans, and every civilization that had paper would go out. They saw that, so that's why they said you've got to have money. It has to be gold. That's the law. That's in the Constitution, and they can't have a central bank. So they do things that are illegal all the time. But we know that the physical price is where it's at. So that's why we get frustrated, because we know the price. We've looked behind the curtain. We know what the price should be. That's why I give you 10 grand and $2,000 silver. That's the real price of the physical. And there is no roller coaster ride on it. It goes up and it goes up and it goes up. And you need it because your dollars are worthless. But they won't tell you your dollar's worthless, because that'll admit that the government fucked up. And they don't want you to know the government fucked up, even though we know the government fucked up. But people don't even want to hear it. I got an email yesterday from Paul. Paul, welcome. Anytime you want to comment. But I do get emails from Paul, and he makes some comments. But one of the things he said is people don't know what they don't know, or don't want to hear the truth and stuff like that. I don't really give a fuck. I'm going to tell them the truth. Maybe they'll start listening. This is about saving the people, right? And the only out is gold and silver. That's why I bring up the Titanic. It's the only lifeboat you can have is the gold and silver. So keep in mind that we're collecting physical. We don't go and do options and do forecast, futures and trades and all that bullshit, and ETFs and stocks. It's all bullshit. It's not worth anything. So what these wars are doing, this is George Soros betting against the dollar. Now, I don't know what he's betting against with, because every currency will go to zero. But betting against the dollar, he's trying to collapse the world for revenge from Hitler, because he's a Nazi. And so the best way to collapse the dollar is to spend a lot, and that this war is very expensive. And you're spending, from what I hear, $1 billion a day. It could be more. They're going to put troops over there. They're all dead. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. I mean, really? I mean, how are they even going to get close to where they're trying to get to? And then how are they going to eat? And then how are they going to get off the island? And what would their objective be? Who are you going after? You've already killed the leader, so it's not like you're taking out Hitler. You've already taken him out. So I don't even know. You send 20,000 Marines to fight 90 million people. That'll work. So anyway, that's to collapse the dollar quicker. The dollar is collapsed. The dollar is worthless. But people don't want to hear it. No, don't tell me that. It's not. It doesn't have a value. Oh, don't tell me that. Sure, it does. I go to Kroger's now, and my $100 buys me 3 items. Come on, what do you mean it doesn't have a value? But Kroger's has to accept your money. So people say, well, you can't take gold or silver to the grocery store. Well, yes, you could. You will in the future, but right now they can't accept that. They have to accept dollars. Now, the independent barbecue restaurant that I go to, the guy he used to own 3 restaurants, owns one. He can do what he wants. So he'll take my silver for a meal all day long, but I don't want to give him a $90 ounce of silver for a $30 meal. Well, I'm sure he'd give me change, but I don't really want the paper dollars. So anyway, that's the big thing. This whole war is about collapsing the dollar. We were trying to steal the oil because we're bankrupt. So let's frame the picture. The US is bankrupt. We have a $39 trillion debt, not 36. I don't know what Mark McGuire was looking at. We have a $39 trillion debt that we can't pay. Most of the population has huge debt in their houses, their cars, and their credit cards, which they won't be able to pay. They're all going to lose their jobs. So the economies suck because if people can't afford things, they can't buy things. They can't buy things. The companies selling things can't do. I get so many calls for loans and I keep hanging up. I don't need a loan. I got gold or silver. Some guy called me yesterday for life insurance. I says, I got gold. I don't need life insurance. How about a hot tub? Somebody calls me for a hot. What the fuck? This is welcome to AI, right? And I've been watching that last Mission Impossible again, and it's AI. And there you go. It's that's the problem with AI. But AI won't think like that. AI is not smart enough to think on its own. That's never going to happen. Don't be scammed by AI. It's worthless. It's a Ponzi, just like electric cars. They're absolutely worthless. Absolutely a Ponzi scheme. So Madoff's pupils well. People doing all these scams and Ponzi schemes. Anyway, so that's my thing. I didn't get the job. I didn't even get a call. I have an interview Wednesday. It's a senior financial analyst. Pays good. That's what I'm looking for. Well, I'll forward you to the finance manager, and he'll probably get back to you by Friday. And I get an email yesterday. Well, we've chosen somebody else. I don't even get an interview with the finance manager, and this isn't the first time. What the fuck's going on now? They don't know my age, but it's I'm a male. I'm white. I'm whatever it is. I'm being discriminated against. I can't even get an interview. How can a finance manager? I got 25 years of finance experience and a master's, and you don't even give me a call and say hi? There's some serious problems going on, and that's why these companies will go under. If you don't want to listen to me or at least interview me, you're fucked, and you don't know what you're doing. So I don't know. I just don't get it. Anyway, I just think that maybe, and it's not like cheaper. She told me the salary. She says, well, is this salary okay? And I said, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's no problem. So it's not like it's a salary issue. You want a younger person because you can pay them, $20,000 cheaper. I'm sure that's happening. I'm sure there's quotas. Well, we need a female, or we need a race, or we need, but younger, you don't know. One guy asked me, like, when did I graduate? And I tell him to fuck off. That's none of your business. Go call the school, find out. But that's none of your business. My age. There's no reason, unless you're asking me, am I over 21? Anyway, I was very shocked to not even get a call. I thought I'd get the job because I know I'm qualified. And that's really a problem. They're not hiring the best candidates, and all these companies are going down. I mean, there won't be anybody left. All right. So we saw gold and silver. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin was getting killed yesterday. 67,000. We saw it at 71. 75. It got back to 57. I love it. And I keep getting these scammers. Oh, I can do trades for you. And I always make money when it goes up or down. And I'm like, that's impossible. Shut the fuck up. Plus, I'm never going to get into crypto. They always try to sell you crypto. I'm not getting into crypto. And it's always a scam, right? All right. So, with that said, let's get into the NBA. So, I went 2-2 on my bets yesterday. Some of these scores you just can't figure out. So we start off with San Diego 114, Indiana 113. San Diego laying 8.5. I'll tell you, I don't like road favorites. They lose to the spread. Over under 239. Went down to 236, and they played a 227 game. Possible fix there, but a lot of people bet under, and it went under. It's funny how the line moves from when I look at it now till the game time. First bet, Atlanta over 226. It had gone down to 224. Boston laying 4.5. Boston wins 109-102, which I was surprised was such a low scoring game. 211, and we needed 226. So that was our first bet. We lost, and mostly because Atlanta scores a lot, and I'm surprised they didn't score more. Then we get Miami plus 5.5 to Cleveland, and 240 was the total. Cleveland wins 149-128. Very explosive game. So we'll have to keep our eye on Cleveland over. Miami's an over also. For some reason, I picked Miami, but I didn't play the game. Miami plus 5.5, I thought would be a close game. Our next bet, Oklahoma, over 238, and Oklahoma plays at 244, so that goes over. That's a W. Again, now here's a possible fix game. Orlando was laying 19.5, wins by 18, 131-113. Very suspicious there. So the Bulls in 19.5 win by a point. That is where the fixes are. These real high numbers. Orlando, they're gonna or Oklahoma's gonna pull their guys in the fourth quarter. They're way up and they win by 18. Oh, the spread's 19. That's why I'm very, very leery about laying a lot of points, and that's why I go to more over-unders. But the over did win. It ended up going to 241.5. They still got 244, so the fix wasn't in the total. The fix was in there. But if you notice, the total did go up. So let's keep an eye on the spread now to the spread at game time. And then is that always a tell? Anyway, so Oklahoma wins over. So we're 1-1. That was 2 units. We got Toronto. Toronto over 228. Went to 229. It didn't get there. Toronto wins 119-106 against New Orleans. 225. So he just missed by a bucket. And Toronto laying the 8.5 at home did win. But that wasn't a bet. Denver, now this is a bet, and they win 135-129, 248, and ended at 248. They play a 264, so that wins. Denver's an over team. In Utah's, I don't know, sometimes they score, sometimes they don't. Utah getting 20.5 covers again. You're laying 20, and they win by 16. No, they win by 6. Really strange. So again, here's a 20-point favorite. They win by 6 at home, but they go over. So we now have hit the over in the Denver, the over in the Oklahoma, and we lost the over in Atlanta. Next game, Portland, minus 10.5 at home to Dallas, and they lose 190. They don't even score 100 points at home. This is really strange. Total at 240. They come nowhere near that. I did play Portland minus 10.5, but I wasn't a bet. Just that's my thought. And our last game, the Lakers over 222. It did go to 224, so it didn't. That's not a tell. They play a 215 game, and we're 222, so we lose. The Lakers get 116. Brooklyn only gets 99. I don't know. Brooklyn scores big points here and there, and then they get 99 against the Lakers. So the Lakers and Celtics both played good defense. Okay. So when we look at the whole rhyme and reason, we go 2-6. But when we look at the bets, we go 2-2. So Oklahoma winner, Denver over a winner, the Lakers over a loser, and Atlanta over a loser. So we go 2-2, which is okay, not bad. So let's look at today's games. And the thing with the Lakers, you never know if LeBron's going to play because he's such a baby. I heard Tiger Woods got into another rollover accident. How do you roll over in a car? I mean, I'm driving my car. I've never come close to rolling over. What is he doing? And again, he's seriously injured. I mean, he must do some serious drugs or something to roll over. And this isn't his first accident. He's had 3 or 4 of these, and he breaks his bones and breaks his back. What the hell is going on with this guy? If I didn't know any better, problem solving this, he pissed off somebody. He must have had somebody's wife or girlfriend that didn't like that he did it. And he's been in car accidents a lot. Nobody can be this stupid to drive his car and roll it over. How do you do that? Unless you're on drugs or something. I mean, really, when I worked at Hiram Walker Canadian Club, I was friends with another finance manager, and we would watch the traffic report coming in, and we'd laugh our ass off. Car fire. You'd have 2, 3 car fires, and you'd have 3, 4 rollovers. Oh, there's accident. This road's closed because of a rollover, and we'd laugh our asses off, going, "How do you have rollovers? How do you have 4 rollovers on a Tuesday morning? You know, going to work." It was the funniest thing I've ever heard of. So I don't know what's going on with Tiger. He must do serious drugs, or somebody's out to kick his ass. Probably both. All right, let's look at pro basketball. March 28th. March is gone. Was this my birthday? 3 weeks ago. Now, nothing. San Antonio plays Milwaukee. San Antonio again, 18.5, 226. The game's in Milwaukee. You don't have Antelope playing. I don't know what to say. I think San Antonio wins, but how do you? It's like laying 18 in a football game. You can't do it because down the stretch, and they've got the game by 20. They're just going to bring in the subs, and that'll be it. They'll win by 14. Hard to take Milwaukee without Antelope. You want to go over in the game, but I don't know. I think it's the only play. Hard to go under, but maybe without Antelope, you can go under. I'm just going to circle San Antonio over 226, but I'm not going to play it. I don't like the numbers. Detroit goes to Minnesota, play the Vikings. So they'll lose because they couldn't beat the Vikings. Detroit's a road favorite, 1.5, 222. So I like Minnesota as a home dog here, plus 1.5. I'll go 2 units on this. Detroit's not good enough to be a road favorite. They're really not good enough to be a home favorite. Richie Cunningham, as far as I know, still out. 222. I don't know with Detroit. Maybe it's an over game. I don't know. Philly and Charlotte, both teams playing well. I'm going to go over here. Charlotte's been playing extremely well, and they've been scoring a lot of points, and Philly got their 2 scorers back. We'll look for an explosion here. We're going to go over 232, and I'm going to play that for 2 units. I like that game. There's only 5 games on a Saturday. This is crazy. I assume it's because of the college, but still crazy. Sacramento goes to Atlanta. Now, Atlanta played yesterday, played Boston, and didn't play well. And now they're 14.5 points over Sacramento, who's on the East Coast, 236. I'm going to play Atlanta here, minus 14.5. I don't trust Sacramento enough to score a lot, but I think Atlanta scores a lot. Chicago at Memphis. Memphis has some injury or something. Chicago 3.5, 246.5. That's way too big. Chicago's an over team, but I don't know what I'm going to get from Memphis, so I'm going to lay it away. I don't like to play road favorites, so I don't know how bad Memphis is, but I don't think Chicago's all that good. They're 29-44. I think this is an over game, but I won't bet it. Chicago over 246.5. And our last game is Utah against Phoenix. Karl Malone against Charles Barkley. Phoenix 16.5. That's way. Utah played well yesterday against somebody, where they were 16-point dogs and lost by 5. Phoenix 16.5, 231. I'm going to go over here. Arizona over 231. And we'll go 2 units on that. Let's have some fun today. So we've got San Antonio over 226, no bet. Minnesota plus 1.5, home dog to Detroit, 2 units. Carolina playing a very good 76er team now, over 232, 2 units. I want you to go 3 units on that game. Atlanta minus 14.5, off of the loss, playing back-to-back, playing Sacramento on the East Coast. I think Atlanta, I think they blow them out. See, they have reason because they lost yesterday. So look for Atlanta to really get going. Chicago and Memphis, we're going over 246 because the Bulls are a high-scoring, no-defense team. They're the Cincinnati Bengals of basketball. And Phoenix against Utah. Utah played a good game yesterday. I'm not laying 16.5 in this league. So 231 sounds right. So we're going over 231. So you bet Mini plus 1.5. Charlotte over 232. And Arizona over 231. Avoiding Phoenix laying 16.5 is crazy. Atlanta 14.5. I think that's a winner. And then we've got San Antonio as a road favorite, 18. That'll never win. I'd be shocked if San Antonio covers 18.5. They'll probably win by 12, 13 points. They'll get the win. Wembanyama, he'll sit the fourth quarter. I mean, you don't want him out with the 20-point lead, and therefore they'll never make it go higher. And Milwaukee doesn't have Antelope, which is fine. I think they're badly coached. Whoever's coaching it has hit up his ass. So what's the analytics in basketball? Oh, yeah, let's go for 3. Every shot, even though it's about a 20% chance you're going to make it. What the hell? Let's go for 3s. And it's just crazy. Well, you get more if you score 3 than if you get 2. Yeah, but your percentage of making them drops from 80% to 20%. So you gotta shoot 4 threes to make 1. But if you take 4 layups, so you'd win 8-3. You're not hitting much more than 20%. So that's kind of how that's the analytics. It's all stupid. Does it work? No. It worked when Steph Curry was the shooter, but how many Steph Currys are there? None. So, yeah, Kevin Durant, but they never win. And then you have James Harden, who always chokes in the playoffs. So what do you got? You got very few pure shooters. who are going to shoot the 3-pointers. I hate when I see Luca Brasi or Jokic taking 3-point shots. It's like Kareem and Bob Lanier taking 3-point shots. What, are you kidding me? Bill Walton, yeah, he's open from 40 feet away. I see it in college yesterday. These are the stupidest players. One guy's taking a shot. He's doing a step back 3-pointer off balance. Of course, that misses. One guy is almost at half court shooting a 3-pointer. You're just like these. This game is so stupid right now. I think that's what I don't like about it is where's the action to get the ball inside and get the the dunks and the action. You don't see it. I was watching one game yesterday. Must have been the St. John's game, I think. And the guy had set a moving pick, and the guy pushed him away because he was moving, and they called the foul on the defensive guy instead of the offensive guy. You can't move him when you set the pick unless they've changed that rule too. Well, he hit him in the head. So I think he hit him in the chest and it went to his head and they call a flagrant foul. And you're like, you guys are out of your mind. What is this head stuff? That's part of the game. Fuck that. I hate that. All right. So that's pro basketball. Again, not a lot of games. I don't get it. I guess there'll be a lot Sunday. Let's just check the standings. How many games? There's 82 games. Let's make the schedule shorter. Why? Do you think they want to lose money? Because everybody will make less money. It's stupid. So we've got they played 73 games, so there's 9 games left. So another 2 weeks, I guess. Then we'll have the wonderful playoffs. So if we look at the playoffs, Detroit is the 1 seed, which is amazing. Must be a terrible schedule. 53-20. Boston, who's much better at 49-24. The Knicks, who are much better at 48-26. Cleveland, 46-28. And that's it. So there's basically 4 teams in the chase. Toronto and Atlanta with 41 wins. Philly's coming out with their stars at 40. Charlotte, 39. Orlando 39, Miami 39. So that's it. And then there's 29. So this is a terrible league. In Detroit, I don't know. Do they have Milwaukee and Chicago in their division? Indiana. So they got it's like the Tigers. They got all the weak teams in their division. Now I don't get this 10 teams. The top 6 teams in each conference ranked in order by win-loss records qualify for the playoffs. The teams that finish ranked 7th through 10th play in a 4-team, 3-game play-in tournament. What the fuck is that for the 7th and 8th seed? So you've got 8 teams make the playoffs, but yet instead of just taking the top 8, you've got to make it into a best 2 out of 3 with the 4 crappy teams that made the playoff. What kind of stupid shit? This is why you can't watch basketball. What kind of shit? This is for the gambling, right? This is so you have more games to bet on. There's no other reason. There's no, you got Detroit and Boston. So Miami and Orlando with 39 wins going against 50-win teams have no chance. So they're going to play in against, so Philly and Charlotte are going to play Orlando and Miami to see who's the 7th and 8th team. Where'd they come up with this shit? This is as stupid as the girl taking the girls softball where in baseball, if it's the 10th inning, the girl starts in second base. I mean, this is absolutely, you wonder why nobody likes the game anymore. Nobody watches it. Now I'm watching this college basketball and I can only take 5 or 6 minutes of it. And then although I did watch a lot of the Michigan State, but I turned it off when Michigan State got down like 15-5. I turned it off, turned on the movie. And then just at the end of the movie, I came back and there was like 4 minutes left in the game. I couldn't believe it. And it was a 3 or 4 point game. And, I got screwed at the end. I got 2.5 and they're down 2 and then they foul and you get the fouls and Michigan State throws an interception on a stupid play. But they were down 4. They had to score twice, so they had to throw the ball deep. But anyway, so that's that. Now in the West, Oklahoma is 58-16, San Antonio 55. They're the best two teams. They're going to win the title. The Lakers, no, LeBron's too much of a pussy. Denver 47 wins, Minnesota 45, Houston 44. So those top six are it. And then your 7 through 10. I mean, here's the problem. You got Golden State 36-38. They're not a playoff team. Portland 37-38 is not. You can't go 500. You shouldn't even be in there. So this should be Phoenix with 40 and the Clippers with 38, Portland with 37 and Golden State 30. And then it falls off. New Orleans 25, Memphis 24, Dallas 24, Utah 21, and Sacramento 19. And as I say, there is no such thing as tanking. Nobody goes out to lose on purpose. Sorry. These are said by people that are not sports people, like these radio personalities. They're tanking. 15 teams are tanking. No, you're going to have 5 or 6 bad teams every year. And every sport, they're not tanking. They're bad teams. They don't have talent. Were the Oakland Raiders tanking last year? No. They had no quarterback. They did have Coach Pete. I don't know why they got rid of the offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly. That was a big mistake. He wasn't the problem. The problem is you had no offensive line. You had no defensive. Well, you had a fairly good defense, but you had no offensive line, no receivers except for Brock Bowers. And Gentry was new, but with no offensive line. He had a few good runs. And they'd play a lot of under games, but they weren't tanking. When Austin Gentry runs 60 yards for a touchdown in a game to fuck me over, because then I think they're playing Houston or somebody, and I'm laying 4, and then Gentry runs a 60-yard run. Yeah, they're tanking. Yeah, okay. Sure they are. That's why you just ran 60 yards for a touchdown. Well, Max Crosby, they're keeping him out. They're tanking. No, he's got a knee problem, and his career is probably over. So he's got a chronic knee condition. They're trying to trade him to Baltimore. Like, haha, we can get rid of him. But they make it look like Max Crosby's disgusted because they pulled him the last 2 games when he had a knee problem and wouldn't have played anyway. They're not tanking. Nobody tanks. They just have shit players because there's not enough players to go to 32 teams. So as you can see, most of the league's not tanking. Even I wouldn't call New Orleans at 25 wins. They're just bad. Zion Williamson stinks. Memphis has injuries. Dallas, I think they have injuries. In Utah and Sacramento, they're just injured. They're not tanking. I don't consider 19-55 tanking. I consider that their team sucks. Sacramento has always had a bad team. Same thing in the other. Is Indiana tanking 16-15? I don't know. Do they have injuries? Brooklyn? I don't know. Now, if you think they're tanking and you want to get rid of this, you say, well, if we can prove you're tanking, which we can't, then you got to go to the 30th draft pick. You don't get number 1, you get number 30. That would stop if you believe there is tanking, which I don't. Nobody here on Indiana or Brooklyn or Washington goes out to lose. And in fact, Washington went to Sacramento, won by 30. On the road, on the West Coast, and they won by 30. A team that's tanking, scores 20 points, like the Bad News Bears. That's bullshit. All right. So that is basketball. 6 games today. Crazy. And college basketball. How sweet yesterday was. So in college basketball, Duke 80, St. John's 75. We've got St. John's in 6.5, 2 units, a winner. Michigan 90-77. We did like Michigan minus 8.5 when it went down that far. And then 173, they played a 167. I did have that under. I thought it was too high. It did go down to 171. As I thought, Alabama choked. I mean, if you just take 3-pointers, you're not going to make them in a tournament. So Michigan won there. Tennessee 76-62 over Iowa State. We had a 2-unit play. Iowa State under 139. They played a 138 by the here on our chinny chin chin. We won that one. I had it marked as a loss because with like a minute left, they were only needed 2 or 3 more points. And it actually went to 140. So it went from 139 to 140, and it did stay under. But that's an overplay. And then the first game, where's Michigan State? This is weird. There it is. All right. Michigan State, Connecticut 67-63. We have Michigan State plus 2.5. Total was 130. I did say under 136, so I was right there. Michigan State, always a good defense, and their offense sucks. But I took them plus 2.5. I didn't think Connecticut was that good. They got that one guy, Hekabar, or whatever his name is. So that was my loser. So I hit Houston the night before under 140. I hit St. John's plus 6.5, and I hit Iowa State under 139. I lose Michigan State. I go 3-1, a plus 5 units because I had 3 units on Houston. Now, Houston lost, but they still kept it under. That's why I bet the over-unders more than I bet the teams. Because I didn't know who Illinois is. All I know is Houston's got a great defense, which they always seem to have. So again, 3-1. 3-1 on my picks in college. So for a guy who doesn't know any of the names, it shows you it's not important to know the names. It's important to problem solve the teams and know them. Houston, great defense. Michigan, So my money's on Arizona to win the tournament now, as they have the top-ranked offensive defense, and that always wins. All right, so that's yesterday, and now we got 2 games today and 2 games tomorrow. Let's go through all of them. We got Iowa at Illinois. Illinois 7.5, 139.5. I'm going to go Illinois under 139.5, and we'll go 2 units. Why? Well, they shut down Houston, and they were able to score a little bit on Houston. Iowa also had a good defense, gave up 71. I think this is the more deeper in you start choking. This is to get down to the Final Four. And I just think Iowa with the decent defense, I don't think Iowa's going to score on Illinois. That's really the other part. But I don't know if it's Iowa beat Nebraska. I don't know if Iowa is going to stay within the 7.5. They could win the game. Illinois could be flat after Houston because their defense tired them out. So I'm going to go under because I don't know Illinois minus 7.5 is a winner. Purdue at Arizona. We're taking Arizona. Now the question is, do we lay 5.5 or 153? Arizona scores a ton. Purdue's a good team. I'm taking Arizona laying 5.5 and a total of 153. I don't know if that's an over or an under. Purdue, let's go. We'll take over, but we're not betting over 153. So today, Illinois under 2.5 and Arizona 5.5 is also 2.5 or 2 units. So 2 units, Illinois under, 2 units, Arizona lay the 5.5. Purdue, I think they're going to have troubles with Arizona. I think everybody's going to have trouble with Arizona. Tomorrow's games, Tennessee, Michigan. Michigan 7.5, 146. Go blue. We'll take Michigan. We'll lay 7.5. Total of 146.5. What did Tennessee do Friday? I can't remember. Tennessee beat Iowa State 76-62. Iowa State didn't have their star, I don't believe. So it wasn't that great of a defense. They scored. So we don't really know what Tennessee is. I'll lay the 7.5. That's 2 stars. Total of 146. Michigan, good defense. I think this is an under. but I'm not going to. I'll play the Michigan 7.5, and then it gets to the game of the day, Connecticut Duke. Duke laying 5.5, 133. I'm going to take Connecticut plus 5.5. I don't think Duke's all that. Connecticut looked really strong, beating Michigan State when that one guy, whoever this name is, 133.5 total. I think it's an under. Both these teams with great defenses. I would think it's an under, but I'll take Connecticut as a live dog. So we're taking Illinois under 139 today. We're taking Arizona, lay the 5.5. We're taking Michigan, lay the 7.5, and we're taking UConn plus the 5.5. All of those are 2 units. So we're going to bet all 4 of the games. And that'll leave us with the final, which is going to be Michigan, Connecticut, I think, if they're in the same bracket, against Arizona and Illinois or Iowa. Arizona will kill either one. Michigan. So it's probably going to be Arizona and Michigan. Although if Connecticut beats Duke, don't be surprised to see Connecticut go against Arizona. I guarantee Arizona in the final game, and probably against Michigan, although it could be the Duke-Connecticut winner. But the way Connecticut handled Michigan State, who was a really good team, I think they'll handle it there. So that's college basketball. So I'm giving you lots of picks today, but I feel comfortable on them because I've been watching the tournament, so I learned what's going on, but I can problem solve fast. I remember when I saw the line for the Super Bowl and I said in 5 minutes, I love Seattle, and I gave you the score 30-10. And this Pat emailed me, well, you should take your time and it's fixed and all this. And I go, I don't need to take time because I've been studying Seattle in the playoffs and the way they handled, the Niners, and then the way they beat the Rams. They were not going to lose to New England because Drake May is not very good. And he's overvalued. And the only reason they beat Denver is because their quarterback was injured. If Bo Nix plays, it's Denver and Seattle, and that would have been a whole different Super Bowl. I would have probably taken the dog in that game. So the fact I make a quick pick or I problem solve quickly doesn't mean I'm not doing an accurate problem solve. I just am very quick at that. That's just my nature. Once I see it, I bet it. So in this case, once I see Arizona and I see the rankings, and they killed their team yesterday. I mean, they killed Arkansas and that coach 109.88. So maybe over 153. Well, Purdue 79-77. See, Purdue struggled with Texas. Arizona beat a good Arkansas team. And I think this will be high scoring. Yeah, we're going to go over also in Arizona, 153. I think that goes over. So once you can problem solve once you see it. All right, let's go to the Major League Baseball. Now, we're not ready to pick yet because we don't have enough info on the ERAs and the team. So let's look at the results yesterday and try to get a feel of the teams, although it's so early we can't. The Yankees 3-0 over the 49ers. Toronto 3, Oakland 2. Oakland's always terrible. They missed Reggie Jackson, Joe Rudy, and the boys. They made a comment that if they would have not, if Charlie Finley wouldn't have gotten cheap and started getting rid of Catfish Hunter and Reggie, they said we would have won every World Series. As long as the team was intact, they would have won every World Series. And I kind of believe that. There was such a good team, 1 through 9. You had Campy, you had Reggie, Joe Rudy, Catfish Hunter, Vita Blue. You had just Raleigh Fingers. You had such a good team. Yeah, they weren't weak anywhere, and I do believe they would have won. They beat Cincinnati, they beat the Miracle Mets, and they beat Mets, Cincinnati, and the Dodgers. So they beat all the cream teams. So you beat Cincy, and they won it in '76, right? So uh, they obviously own Baltimore and Boston. So yeah, Oakland beat Detroit in '73. So yeah, I think they would have. I think it would have been maybe they lost one, but they would have been hard to beat. Miami 2-1 over Colorado. Atlanta 6-0 over KC. Uh, the Angels 6-2 over Planet Houston. Detroit 5-2 over San Diego, scores 4 runs in the eighth. Uh, let's see how they. I don't know who's. We'll see who's pitching today. San Diego is just not playing very well. Detroit, they're just getting lucky. They're playing money ball. They like going for walks. You look at their. Here's the problem. They're good hitters. They always like Riley Green. He gets like 3 strikeouts a game, and then this Torkelson, bases loaded, walk, or second and third he walk. He doesn't get a big hit. He walks when you need a hit, and first and second walk. No, I need a 3-run homer. I need a double. I don't need you to walk. They're going for walks. This is so stupid. Jancy, who you got for baseball? Who do I got? I don't have anybody. Seattle 5-1 over Cleveland. Well, we'll see how strong Seattle is this year. The Dodgers 5-4 over Arizona, and that's it. So there wasn't even a full slate. That's strange. All right, so let's see today, Saturday. That's true. The first week they give them these strange odd days. All right, St. Louis at Tampa. Now again, we don't have ERAs yet. I can't tell you who McCreevy is for St. Louis or who Boyle is for Tampa. Not at this point. St. Louis is a small favorite, total 7.5. I don't know, but we've got to learn the teams. Can they hit or not? But mostly it's the pitching. Mostly in baseball, Nolan Ryan's gonna. I don't care who is batting, they aren't gonna get too many hits on him. Sandy Koufax, you couldn't get hits on him. So no matter who, Mickey Mantle, he'd strike him out. That's where good pitching beats good hitting. So we're trying to differentiate the pitching now. Washington goes to the Cubbies. C. Horton against McCollus. Now we know McCollus is on Washington. He was on St. Louis. Cubs are a huge favorite, 222 and a total of 8.5. I don't know why they're such a huge favorite. But again, they didn't play yesterday, so I don't know. McCullough's is pretty decent. We'll see how he is in Washington. Toronto and Oakland. Springs for Oakland, have no idea. Dylan Cease is on Toronto now. See, this is what you learn, right? Dylan Cease. He was good last year. They're minus 185, Oakland 168. Here's where I might take a little stab at Toronto, because it's still in Cease, but let's wait a little bit. As we saw, Scanes had a bad outing. Fried had a good outing, so we don't know what Cease will do. Give him a few games. Minnesota, Baltimore. Baltimore, 158, 7.5. T. Bradley, don't know. Bradish, have no idea for Baltimore. Philadelphia and Texas. Oh, we got Aaron Nola going for Philly. Texas, Jay Latz, have no idea. I'd almost, if I had to, I'd bet Philly here. They're 108 and a 7. Aaron Nola, good. Latz, have no idea. It's just Philly, Texas. We don't know all the changes that they've done yet. I got to see some box scores. Pitt goes to the NY, instead of the JETSs, the METSs, the Mets. D. Peterson, never heard of him. And M. Keller, don't know. Mets are 170, 7.5. Have no idea. Boston goes to Cincinnati, the Big Red Machine. This is the 76 World Series. Boston 137, favorite 7.5. We got Sonny Gray. We know him from Oakland. against Brady Singer. So I actually know the pitchers, but I'm not going to bet them. You can't bet them now. This is the first game. They got to get into their rotation and into their rhythm, and they haven't pitched yet. I don't count spring training as anything. Miami, a big favorite, 188 over Colorado. Colorado sucked last year. Total of 7.5 seems low. I think the totals are low this first week. It's still cold, although not in Miami. We got Lorenzen for Colorado and E. Perez, no idea for Miami. California and Houston. Houston a 149. Here's a big total. Houston's got such a small ballpark. Detmers for California, I have no idea. And Javier for Houston, I have no idea. And this is the problem right now, right? I can tell you to bet Scanes. I can tell you to bet Freed. Maybe Chris Sale. I can never tell you to bet Scooble because he's only going to pitch 6 innings and he's a crybaby. And I wouldn't even pitch him. I'm sorry. He's going to get hurt. He's going to hurt my trade value. So why pitch him? We're going to win the playoffs. Well, he ain't going to be here because he's gone at the trade deadline. And the more we pitch him, the less value we get trading him. So he's sitting. You don't want to play for me? Go fuck off. It's like a girl. You don't want to go out with me? Go fuck off then. So it's the same thing. I was watching Stoic yesterday, and like when a girl leaves you, and it's like she doesn't invite you to the parties, she doesn't, it's a one-word answer. Everything's very short, and they don't contact you as much, and they've lost interest basically. And that's how they've dumped you without actually saying I dumped you. I'm just going to not talk to you anymore, and that'll be it. And then we're done. And so that's how you realize it. All right. Let's see. The White Sox go to Milwaukee. Milwaukee, a huge favorite, 191 and 8 total over under. S. Burks for the White Sox and C. Patrick for Milwaukee. No idea. No idea why they're 191. The Yankees are playing the 49ers. Yankees are 123 favorites and 8.5 total. W. Warren, a right-handed pitcher for the Yanks, and Mahle, Mahle for the Niners. No idea. The Yankees won the first 2 games. KC goes to Atlanta, and we got Wakaka. I thought he was on St. Louis. Well, he's on Kansas City now. Atlanta's a 144 favorite, 8.5. Wakaka against R. Lopez, whoever that is. Detroit goes to San Diego. We got 105 Detroit, 103 San Diego. Go figure that out. Total of 8. Joe Flaherty from SCTV going against Randy Vasquez. So I've heard of him. I would be leaning towards San Diego here because Flaherty sucks. And they've lost the first 2. So we'll see. But no bet. And then Arizona at the Dodgers. The Dodgers a big favorite. I don't know why. 232. Edgar Rodriguez, I think. 0. Well, and Glass now for the Dodgers. I have no idea. Cleveland goes to Seattle, and Seattle 178 and to 163 for Cleveland. So Seattle's minus 178. Cantillo for Cleveland and Ric Flair going for Seattle. Brian Wu. He was injured at the end of last year, so they'll probably baby him with 5 or 6 innings. Otherwise, I'd be all over Cleveland here or over Seattle here with Ric Flair going. I don't know. Cleveland had 7 guys that weren't hitting 200 last year. Let's see if that has changed. They're 1-1. See, now here's what you got to stay away from. MLB Royals versus Braves prediction, odds, and home run pick for today. This is bullshit. Home run pick for today. They want you to bet. So what they're really telling you is, I want you to bet the team. Oh yeah, but here's a home run prop you should bet, and you're going to lose them all. You might hit one or two, but the odds are you're going to lose all this. Your odds aren't even correct on that. You're getting 3-1. You should be getting 10-1. The odds on hitting a home run in a Major League Baseball game are like 20-1. And the odds they'll give you is 3-1 or 4-1. Oh, Aaron Judge, he's even money to hit a home run. And these idiots bet on. It's 20-1 to get a home run in a Major League Baseball game, especially based on the pitchers. You're going against Paul Skeens, you ain't hitting one, or Fried, but going against Joe Blow or this guy in the Tigers, yeah, you might hit it. So again, it depends on who's pitching. But don't listen to this shit. Don't listen to AI. Oh, AI picked the game for me. Yeah, go fuck off. AI's picking games. AI can't pick games. The last thing AI can do is pick games. All right. So that is baseball today. I'd give it another week or two until we start playing. We've got to judge the teams, because they're all new and you've got different players moving around. You've got pitching. You've got to see who's pitching what. All right, Ric Flair, we have an idea on today. We had an idea on Frains. Skeens was, and that's the point. Look at Skeens had a terrible outing. Fried didn't, and we'll see. But basically, you've got to understand that. So you've got to be careful with these, the pitchers, who's what and where right now. So keep that under your mind. Where basketball, it's one guy, right? Luca Brasi controls the game, and that's it. And he's going to play every day. And this is the problem with baseball. With Skeens, Pittsburgh's this team, and without Skeens, they're another team. They're a team without good pitching and without good hitting. With Skeens, it's an under game because they can't hit, and he's going to shut you out most of the time once he gets cooking. And that's the biggest difference. Football, it's the same team. Mahomes is out there, well, except for when he gets injured. Jim Kelly, Josh Allen. You always have the same team in football and in pretty much in basketball most of the time. What you have in baseball is a complete different team. You can, we're facing a lefty, we're going to have our right-handed lineup in, and we're facing a righty, we're going to have our left-handed lineup in, and we're going to have a different pitcher every day. And this is why baseball is very difficult. So I think there's two scenarios you come up with. How are they against righties, and how are they against lefties? And then your pitcher. Oh, Skeens is going against the righty. How does my left-handed team do? The lefty's pitching. How does my right hand? And then who knows how good he is, the lefty and righty pitching. If it's Skeens versus, Joe Blow, well, they might hit Joe Blow a little better than hitting Skeens. So it's all, you really got to dig in and just see how they play each other. And that's the difference with baseball. That's what makes it so difficult. Football and basketball, we know it's the same team out there, and hockey too would be the same team. So you can get a beat on them. What you watch in basketball is back-to-back games, East and West Coast. So the West Coast team goes east and the East Coast team goes west. Those are things you don't. In baseball, you're there, like Detroit's playing at San Francisco for 3 games. So they get used to the time, maybe the first game, but they usually have a day off before they go. So if they ever have a game and then they fly out West Coast, then we're going to bet the West Coast team. But generally, you have a day off, and then you're there for 3 days, so you get used to the time zone and the different time elements and the weather, and that's a big part of it. But that's only in baseball. Football, it's just once a week. So if the Bears go to the Rams, they should get there Friday night, but I think they get there Saturday. And then you got to get your time zone down and the jet lag. You're flying 4 hours to go to the West Coast. That's the biggest problem with these teams going coast to coast, it's a 4 hour flight, which tires you out. Believe me, you get very tired. We used to take our kids in the car when they were young, and we would put them in the back seat, and in their car seat, and we'd go drive like a half mile and back, and they'd be asleep. So if they couldn't get to sleep, the movement of the car puts you to sleep. So the movement of the plane puts you to sleep. So then go try to play a ball game after that, right? That's my biggest thing. Like whoever's playing in Australia, what the Rams and the Niners, you got to be kidding. That you figure will be an under game because they're going to be so tired. I mean, they'll be on their drugs, but they'll be so tired. It's crazy. All right, so that's sports. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? I have a few. A few stoic things. So let's go into my YouTube videos. So I was watching this Putin. Putin's not finished. The two chuckleheads on the right are finished. Putin's the man. I told Daria I like Putin better than I like Trump. At least he's the leader, right? I don't know how it is to live in Russia, but at least you're comfortable with the guys in charge. See, I don't pay any attention to morons like this. Gold trend now. The primary trend for gold is very clear. I don't need this idiot telling us what it is. We know what it is. We have a lot of problems in the banking area. We have people not paying their mortgages. Now, again, how does a bank work? They lend money out and then you pay them and you pay them interest. That's how a bank works. It's a rigged system. It's a retarded system. But basically, you take out a $300,000 mortgage, for a house for a mortgage, and you're going to pay them, so much plus interest. Let's say $2,000 plus 500 in interest. So you pay $2,500 a month, of which most of it goes to interest in the beginning. 30 years, you're paying 2,500. Now, in the beginning, it's a lot. The end, it's all inflated, so it's nothing. But what happens? So the bank makes $2,500 a month because it printed the money from zero. Yes, they're out the 300 grand they gave to the builder. So you're moved in, they paid the builder the 300. So the builder's fine. The bank paid 300 grand and should get back about 450 from you because you had to take a loan because nobody in their right mind can afford a house for 300 grand. A few can, but that's it. And so the bank makes money on the 2,500 as they get the money in and the interest. The interest is great because the interest is created out of thin air. The interest is the risk they take for loaning you the money. Okay, I will loan you 300,000, but I want 6% because it's a risk that you're going to pay me back. So I need a high enough interest rate premium so it's worth my risk. Like I say, if I was to loan out, let's say 5 grand, I would want 10% interest because I'm worried about getting paid back, but I'm worried about when I do get paid back, the dollar will be worthless. So I got to charge a lot of interest to make the money I'm losing on the inflation and the risk that I'm taking for you to pay me back. So if all of a sudden I say, you know what, I lost my job, I can't pay it, the bank then is fucked because they've already paid the money out and they get the house back. What do they want the house for? But they don't get the money in. Having a house it's not a liquid asset. Somebody asked me, I think it was you, John Z, about liquid. A $300,000 or $400,000 house is not liquid. It's not easy to sell. The more expensive things are, the less liquid they are, unless you're in a stock or even gold. Gold's very liquid. But I mean, if you're in a stock, you can just sell it, right? But if you're in a house or something, a car, the more expensive it is, the harder it is to sell. It's not as liquid. You can't just go to Toyota dealers and give me 20 grand for my car. I can't sell it. If you can't sell it, he's not going to buy it. So anyway, as you opt out of your mortgage, the banks aren't getting their money. And that's what happened in 2006 to 2008. That was the housing crisis because the government, Jimmy Clinton said, hey, everybody should own a house. And it was terrible. And no, only people that can pay for the house should own. It's like everybody gets Canadian. You have to be able to afford it to get the house. Not the people that don't have money. I got $5 to my name. So yeah, sure, I'll sell you my $80,000 Mantle card, and you don't have money. What the hell? Well, we'll give you credit for it. But I don't work and I don't have no money. How are you going to pay it? And that's the problem. So the banks themselves work on lending their money out and getting paid. They also take your money as deposit and they use that money to also loan. So not all the loans are fictitious. Some of the loans, if you put 50,000 in the bank, they take that 50,000 and they loan it out. Probably more on car loans, but so your money's not in the bank, right? You give them $50,000. There's no $50,000 with their name on it. Now they have money in their safe, and if I ask for 5 or 10 grand, they pull it out and give it to me. So they do have that, but that's how a bank works. So you give them money, they invest that, and then they invest money out of thin air for you to buy a house or commercial real estate. When like Caesars, they'll loan Caesars money, or they'll loan the Empire State Building or these big office buildings or the Chicago, these big buildings. Nobody has the money for it, so they go to the bank to buy the building. Or if they build the building, this is Trump's problem. He'd take out loans for it. Trump doesn't have this kind of cash. He's got a lot of loans. They don't tell you the other side of it. He's worth $1 million and his loans are $2 million. They don't tell you. They just, oh yeah, that's what they're worth. And so as people can't pay them, the banks are in trouble. When you do gold options and you short it and the price goes up, well, you've got the option on your books you've got to get out of. So the bottom line, I'm telling you, between these loans that people are losing their jobs, can't afford, between the options that they're playing in gold and silver and probably oil and other metal, copper and zinc and stuff, the banks are losing their ass. And do we really need banks? I don't think so. The only reason I need a bank is when I get a paycheck or Social Security I need the money. How do I get the money? And if they're digitally or it's a direct deposit, well, how do I get the money? Now, if I'm just using it to pay bills, like, oh, okay, this will pay rent, this will pay credit cards, this will pay for food. I really don't need the money. Because it's there. I know it's in the bank, but I can go spend it. So I don't actually take possession of it, except for I don't trust the bank. So I keep it in the safe. And when I want to buy something in cash, i.e. gold and silver, I would then want cash to buy that. I don't want my credit cards to buy it. I don't want to have an $80,000 thing on my credit card, but I did take 80,000 in cash and buy gold. And that's the thing. The gold, you want to use monopoly money to buy the physical gold and silver. And that's what we've been doing for 5 years. Actually, this was 1995. When I graduated, I bought this. See, a good economics student, I knew that gold was the key. paid 500 and it's worth like 4,000 now. It'd be worth more when gold goes back to five. Um, so the banks are going out because people can't afford to pay them back. So it's like if I loan Luke money and I own John C. money and they can't pay me back, I'm fucked. I don't, that's why they ask for collateral. Well, at least I have his car or his hat or a Bobby Bo card, a Willie Mays card, something in collateral. So when you pay me off, I'll give you that back. That's why they ask for collateral, because if you don't pay, they're fucked. You guys don't pay me, I'm out the money. So that's the problem. So the banks are failing, and they're in deep water, and they're collapsing, and that's why you see the price of gold and silver go down. They can get out of their options, and they print more money to buy gold and silver cheaper because they realize they need gold and silver, because they start to realize that this is crap. Because if you understand the game, and I know most people don't, but they should, these aren't worth anything. This is printed to zero. This is printed to zero. Now, nobody wants to admit to knowing that or going, oh, yeah, that's what's happening. Nobody wants to say that. So they just ignore it. Well, no, I can still go to the grocery store, even though everything's 5 times more expensive. And I can go to McDonald's, or it cost me $12, $13. I took Alyssa to Culver's Friday. We're supposed to go out for my birthday, and she didn't have time. She was late. And so we went to Culver's, and it was like a $60 meal, like my meal, like $7 for a little burger, and then it was $5 for chili. I mean, it's $12, and it's little tiny portions, and you're like, it's like little kitty portions, and it's like, fuck that. I won't ever go back to Culver's. They're too expensive. Their food, the chili was burnt. I don't really want to get fries and onions there. The chicken tastes like shit. The cod, they want $15. Yeah, go fuck off. And you can get broccoli, this little cup of broccoli. I mean, it's the portions are ridiculously low, but they do offer the broccoli, and they do offer the fries and the ice cream and all that. So they do have a nice variety, but it's way too expensive. I mean, a little ice cream is like $4 or $5. You're like, fuck off. It's ridiculous. And they want to charge for topping. Anyway, it's a big ripoff. I would stay away from Culver's. But this is the problem. As your money gets deteriorated and inflated, which means printing, as the money printing happens, you need to get out of pesky here. As the money printing happens, you need to get out of the dollar, because it's just simply not worth anything. Why isn't it worth anything? Because they keep printing it. They need money, like I keep saying, for the debt, 39 trillion. And government employees, look, they're not even TSA. That they need the Social Security, and they need the defense spending, which I don't know why they pay them $1 trillion a year for nothing. So apparently there's no weapons there, or apparently they gave it all to Ukraine, or apparently Trump thinks selling weapons will get you out of it. Selling weapons won't get you out of the $39 trillion debt, and it won't get you out of inflation. So I don't really get the whole picture here of how selling weapons, yeah, it increases sales. Are they making, but it's the company makes the profits. I don't really get that. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. But anyway, so let's keep having wars, and oh yeah, the debt keeps going higher. So as they keep printing money every month, because they have more expense than revenue, and they don't have any revenue because it's not a company. The revenue they get is taxes. But as they do it, they keep printing the money. So as long as they keep printing it, it keeps getting worth less and less. Multiply that by every country who has phony paper money backed by nothing, which is the whole world, except for BRICS now. BRICS is going gold back. So all the BRICS countries have a gold back currency. They're all worthless. The ruble, the RMB, the yen, the yuan, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, all their money's worthless. It's all the same. It's all printed to death. So it doesn't matter. But if they're backed by gold, then that's what matters. Um, that's the key to it. That's what gives money value is backing by gold. But when you don't back it, now the other part is it's a restriction to government. They can only print as much as they have gold, which would then lead you to a higher gold price. But the governments are too stupid to understand that. So if you made gold $25,000 an ounce, you could have a gold standard because now you can print all this money because gold's worth where it should be. And if you let gold run as you should, instead of keep trying to suppress it, all you're doing is making gold and silver worth more and more and more with this stupid suppression. So as back to the banks, as the money is worthless, the banks are all going out they're all going out. And JP Morgan will be the last one because they're the most corrupt. And but that's why you can't trust the bank, and you want to stay as far away from the bank as you can. The only reason you want for the bank is to get a mortgage or a car payment. That's why you go to a bank. Otherwise, the deposit in the bank is just stupid, and you just got to pay your bills out of the bank. So basically, you leave a little bit of money in because you keep reading, oh, the banks are going to bail in your money. You won't be able to get your money out of the bank. I don't give a fuck. I don't have anything in it. What are you going to bail me my $2,000 I get a month and Social Security that I pay rent and everything else? You won't let me get my money out? I don't care. Or you'll limit it to 2,000 or 3,000. And that's really, I don't want to take the money out. I'm using it to pay bills. I'm using it to pay my rent. So as long as rent keeps taking the money, I don't care. But you don't want your money in the bank and then you want to get it out and you can't, or the stock market, you want to get it out, you can't. Bitcoin, it won't be worth anything because it's in dollars. See, people got to understand when you price things in dollars, what happens when the dollar loses value and goes to zero? It goes to zero. Oh, well, that won't happen. The dollar won't happen. The dollar won't go to zero. Why not? You're printing it. Every currency in the history of life has gone to zero because they overprint it. That's why all these countries go bust. And then they come up with new currencies and they do okay, but it's all a Ponzi scheme because you're doing it with fake money. Any dollar that's not backed by gold is just fake. So the banks are going to collapse soon because they can't afford it. People aren't going to be able to pay their mortgages or their car payments or their commercial real estate payments. More people working from home, more people getting laid off. And the whole thing, it's just ridiculous. So that's the bank problem, which is going to be your problem. The banks will steal your money because they're able to, because you've got your money in the bank and they say, forget it. It's just like Luke borrowing money from me and says, well, I can't pay it back. Oh, too bad. So sad. And then I can't get my money back. So if I don't make the loan in the first place, I don't have to worry about it. But I'm a bank. I have to make loans or I go out of business. So that's the real problem. They'll steal your deposits. So you got 100 grand in the bank, say goodbye. And don't be idiots and think it can't happen. Or I talked to my financial advisor who's a Keynesian, and he said, oh, you don't want to be in gold, or oh, you want to be in the stock market. Or these idiot retirement planners, oh, you got to be in a 401k and you got to have your money and to diversify into growth stocks and dividend stocks. And when you retire, how about if the stocks aren't worth anything? How about when the market crashes and all my value's gone? Maybe I should have been in gold and silver because you know what? They can't crash because you can't print them. They can crash in the paper world, but not in the physical world. And that's why you get out and buy physical gold and silver. If you want to retire, that is your only hope to retire, physical gold and silver. If you want to retire with stocks, you're going to be crying. You're going to go back to work because you're not going to be able to. Yeah, for the next year, and the market got tanked yesterday. It was down $900. It's at 40. Let's see. I don't remember if I showed the market. That's the thing with gold today. That like it's the only day it doesn't work. It cuts off Friday night and then it comes back Sunday night. So we get a 2 day rest. There's the Dow yesterday, down $800 to 45,160. You got nervous yet? Is that a good sign if you're in stocks? Do you think that's good that it's down $800? I don't. I know why gold dropped. Gold dropped because of the options in the paper gold. The physical gold did not drop. That's the differentiation. So people see gold. Most people can't differentiate paper from physical. So these newscasters, oh, gold dropped. Gold didn't drop. Paper gold dropped, not physical. Here, the stock market dropped. It's probably everything but Amazon and Apple and Tesla and that. Again, why do you want to be in Tesla? Well, they make EV cars, which nobody wants. So again, that's the market. That's how you make money is you see what the market wants and you build it. You do not build things and the market says I don't want it. That's how you go about. That's this thing in Vegas, this big ball. They spent 2 billion on. Nobody, it's too expensive. Nobody's going to go and pay whatever, a couple $100 to go see a movie. Oh, I could see this band from the 60s play. Yeah, I really want to do that. Um, and I hate when like I know people in Vegas and they want to defend it. Like, well, it's always full. Bullshit. It's not always full. I mean, you're banking on the visitors who come to Vegas who aren't coming anymore because there's no gambling. How can you have a city that's based on gambling and no gambling? So that's going out. You're all the people are getting fired. Oh, we don't need. We're going to have AI do the games, and um, we're going to mark up liquor so much that nobody will buy it. Food will be so expensive, and you want to make all these extra charges. And guess what? Nobody's going to pay tax. Nobody's going to tip you because the tip's already in the bill. Going from a $20 hamburger is $40. Yeah, fuck your tip. I can't afford your tip. I don't even know where tipping came from. It's really stupid. Uh, yeah, she brought out your food. Yeah, she's getting paid to bring out my food. If I don't like the service, can I take it off my bill? Been watching a lot of Gordon Ramsay, and it's always the same. The chef's bitch. Well, Joe and Bill have been waiting an hour and a half for their hamburgers. So can I not tip? Can I say, hey, it's $20, I'll give you 10. How about that? Because you didn't serve me my food in a reasonable time. And I won't go back to the restaurant, of course. Um, so why am I tipping? Because you brought my food out? Well, isn't that your job to bring my food out? If the guy wants to pay you $2 an hour and you wouldn't work on tips, then you're an idiot because you shouldn't be doing that. Well, I need a job and it's easy for me. And I can get a job as a wait. Yeah, because you're working for tip. You're an idiot. I never understood that. I'd tell them to fuck off. Minimum wage is what, $15 an hour? That's what I want. Well, we don't pay that here. Well, then go fuck yourself. The only advantage of tipping is there's no taxes, but are you really making that much? Uh, so anyway, the banks are fucked. You're going to be fucked. Your dollar will buy less and less and less. That's the inflation part of it. And as things go up based on supply and demand, gold and silver goes up by demand. Oil and cocoa go down because supplies are limited. Prices are going up, and that's not inflation. So you only have a dollar, but you pay more at the pump. You pay more for gold and silver, and you pay more at the grocery store. But you're not getting a raise. Your dollar's worth less. right? You can only spend so much with it. Where $100 would buy you a lot, now it buys you very little. Every grocery shop I do now, and I don't buy a lot. I get my fruit and veggies, and I some days I walk in with two bags and it's $50, and there's nothing. I got avocados and I got my veggies, and maybe 3 pounds of hamburger. I mean, right there, it's like about $7 a pound now. That's $21 for 3 pounds of hamburger, which is going to feed me dinner for a couple of like a week. But I'm not going to make it all at the same time. I'm going to get gout. So you have that. I mean, it's crazy. But people don't notice it. Why do you think prices are up at the grocery store? Because the money is not worth anything. Oh, no, 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 they can't be. They're all raising prices on you. Yeah, the cauliflower and the broccoli guys are raising prices on you. Oh, okay. Um, so Trump's doing all he can, even though he's in a war that he never should be in, to keep the oil price down. Because once you get the oil price up, the transportation of moving the cauliflower from the farm to the grocery store has gone up, makes the price go up. So keep that in mind. So basically, that's what you're looking at there. So you got to be careful. But all these are collapsing. So don't be cut off stride. Oh, I can't believe Madoff Ponzi scheme me. Well, how did you think you were getting 15%? And that's kind of what Madoff said at the end. He says they should have known. In other words, if you're making 15% from me and 5% from the banks, wake up. Obviously, I'm doing something illegal. That's why he didn't have remorse. He thought these are the dumbest people I've ever seen. And there'd be times with Madoff where he wouldn't take your money because because it was a Ponzi scheme. He didn't want to hurt you, right? Because since it was a scheme, let's say I'm doing a Ponzi scheme, and then Bobby says, "Hey, I want in." I don't want Bobby in it because I know I'm doing a Ponzi scheme, and I know he's going to lose his money, and I don't want him to lose his money. That's why Madoff turned down some people, probably friends. Anyway, just food for thought. But I'm not doing a Ponzi scheme. So keep in mind that's the way money works. It's a medium of exchange used to buy and sell things, and that's what money is. And it's credit and debit. I don't know what Alistair talks about, but this is money, as is this. These are medium of exchanges used to buy things, and that's the purpose of money. Is you get paid in something. It could be apples and oranges, and you use that to buy groceries and clothes and golf clubs and whatever else you want. That's the idea of money. But it only works if you don't print the hell out of it. You can't just keep printing. There is no such thing as a reserve currency. And that doesn't mean it won't go to zero just because it's a reserve currency. People are so stupid. Inflation is not measured at 2 or 3% year over year. It is measured since 1971. A house was 25,000 is now, let's say, 450,000. That's your inflation rate. So this whole idea of 2 or 3%, more lies, and people believe it, and people don't think the dollar can go out, and it's fantasy. But because they don't teach you, you don't want to believe it. Or if you have 100 grand and you're scared to put it in the gold and silver, I know a lot of people, what if it, you have no choice. The dollar's worthless, right? So I have this, and it's worth $70 now. It's really worth about 700. But the option is to sell it to get back into this. Makes no sense. This has no value. This has a value, and it's going up. This will always have a value because you can't print it. This will never have a value because you keep printing it. And I laugh when they say, "Well, the dollar is stronger versus the euro and the yen and the yuan." No, the dollar is never stronger than anybody. It's worthless. They're all worthless. But nobody wants to believe that. As my friend Paul says, well, people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to believe the truth. Well, they're hearing the truth. You can choose to believe it, but I don't want anybody crying to me when the dollar goes to zero and gold hits 25,000 and you're going to say, yeah, I probably should have listened to you. Yeah, no shit. And these are not opinions. These are not guesses. I am not forecasting this. This is what's going to happen. It's a fact, Jack. This is not a guess. Well, gold will hit. No, gold will never. Gold's on a bull run. Well, the bull run's over. No, gold is not on a bull run. It will not come down. Gold is on a run where physical is being bought. The demand for physical, I don't know, you call it a bull run. This isn't stocks, but the demand for dollars is way up because the dollars are collapsing. The paper is collapsing all over the world because they're on the same boat, high debt, pay off the people, pay off their Social Security, and pay their defense contractors. And so it's the same every country, and it's not backed by anything. It's the same every country. So to say the gold standard doesn't work shows how stupid people are. To say the dollar can't lose its value because it's a reserve currency, or as Jim Rickards would say, we can print as much as we can. Duh, I'm an idiot because I work for the government. These people are idiots. You can't print as much as you want. If you do that, it's going to be worthless. Pure and simple. You cannot print it because it hurts the value. That's what inflation is, inflating the supply of money, of paper. It's just a number and a president is with this. Well, not even that. When you get to Ben Franklin, but this is just a number, and this is a president. This is a bill. It's a president and a dollar, and it's Federal Reserve, so you know it's worthless. And that's it. That's as far as you go with it. You can't keep printing it. It will go to zero, and it's at zero now. So some people are saying it's 3% of value. Some people are saying 99% are gone. It's 100% gone. Especially with this war, you're printing and printing and printing. You're getting to the 100% gone much faster, which is why they're at war, is for George Soros. So he can make a bundle of what I don't know, because he'll make money, but the money will be worthless. So I don't know what George Soros is going to do. Warren Buffett doesn't believe in gold and silver. He'll go broke, as Bill Gates doesn't know what he's doing. He wants to kill everybody with his food and everything. Anyway, that's what you have. So you have a mess going on. Let me show you some Stoic stuff. My little Egon.
The correction we saw in gold and especially silver is just temporary. And that is an opportunity for any investor to increase their positions or now to buy gold and silver if they don't own any, because we are within maximum 2 months. It may be shorter, could be within a month or less, going to see the end of this correction down in gold and silver. And next phase, in my view, could be explosive. We're going to see a move that will shock the world in gold and in silver.
So what he's saying is this gold price temporarily went down so they can make some money in oil, but now look out.
Gold has turned up from a bottom position against the S&P index, which means that we are now going to face a long-term trend change of gold and commodities in general, gaining massively against all paper assets. The gold price and the silver price have gone up almost exponentially in the last 2-3 years. Gold, for example, is up about 155% since January 2025. Now, that's just the beginning. Of course, we have seen recently a major correction. It went a little bit too fast, but silver corrected more, which it always does. It moves faster in both directions.
Paper.
Should be absolutely clear that this change from paper assets to real assets is taking place and is going to accelerate in the next few years. So the correction we saw, for example, in gold and especially silver is just temporary. And that is an opportunity for any investor to increase their positions or now to buy gold and silver if they don't own any, because we are within maximum 2 months. It may be shorter, could be within a month or less, going to see the end of this correction down in gold and silver.
All right, so the correction's over. Now here comes the price. Where's all my stoic stuff? Hmm.
We will see massive money printing, higher inflation, and they can't stop the inflation. There's no way. Whether they have temporarily higher interest rates will make no difference whatsoever, because runaway inflation, and I saw that in the 70s. You remember, we had in the UK, we had high inflation, and we had high interest rates, and deficits. And that was in one country. We're going to see that on the global scale now. I think it's all going to now happen in the next 6 to 12 months. I think 23 will be a very difficult year for the world.
I don't know. Most important. I don't know where he's getting 23. I don't know. Maybe that was an older one. I don't know. I thought I had some stoic stuff, but here's a good one on when they ignore you.
What should you do when someone treats you like you don't matter? Most people beg for attention. They argue. They try to prove their worth. But the Stoics taught something different. Dignity is never defended with desperation. When someone shows you that they do not value you, respond with discipline, not emotion. Here are 7 powerful Stoic moves. First, withdraw your energy. Attention is a form of power. Stop giving your time and focus to people who waste it. When your attention disappears, so does their influence. Second, say nothing. Silence is often stronger than any argument. Instead of explaining yourself, allow your absence to speak. Those who expected your reactions will notice your calm. Third, protect your peace. Other people's chaos is not your responsibility. A Stoic guards the mind like a fortress. Nothing enters unless it deserves to be there. Fourth, improve your life quietly. Do not chase revenge. Focus on growth. Success, discipline, and progress will always speak louder than resentment. Fifth, set boundaries immediately. If someone crosses the line once, make the boundary clear. Respect begins where tolerance for disrespect ends. Sixth, stop explaining yourself. Your value does not require constant justification. People who truly respect you will understand. Those who do not never intended to. Seventh, walk away with dignity. Sometimes the strongest move is simply leaving. No anger, no drama, just quiet self-respect. And often, they only realize your value when your presence is gone. But by then, your peace is already elsewhere. If this message added value to your mind,
I guess I didn't like that one. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't hit the like button. So here's Putin. He humiliates U.S. and Israel live. I got to watch that one. TSA agents. Okay. So I was talking about TSA agents, and they were showing Houston and I think Atlanta, these really big airports, and there was these 4-hour lines. And then we looked at Detroit.
Watch what alcohol does to stuck poop.
See this sharp turn right here? The Cleveland Clinic calls it the splenic flex.
Be worried about what you're going to encounter at the airport, and we hear you.
7 News Detroit reporter Brittany Toulis has been speaking with travelers overnight about what they're facing. She's also hearing from the president of the TSA union at Detroit Metro about the struggles to get by without pay. She joins us now live from Metro Airport. Brittany?
Keenan, Alicia, the union president says the TSA workers right now are struggling, and the TSA acting administrator telling Congress that over this shutdown and the last shutdown, TSA employees have gone 87 days without a paycheck this fiscal year. And you can see right now, they also said that there's a 5% travel surge expected with this spring break travelers. And these travelers really feel for these workers who are burning gas to get here, knowing they're not getting paid.
I wish they'd get moving and figure something out, get the government straightened out so people can get paid.
It'd be tough to go without pay for anybody for that length of time.
Travelers here at DTW thankful TSA lines aren't hours long like at Houston and Atlanta airports, as the partial government shutdown spans weeks. Friday the 27th marking TSA's second zero-sum paycheck, possibly a third on the horizon if Congress can agree on DHS funding ahead of their 2-week break.
I think that they can do a better job of just getting to the business and taking care of things without putting everyday folks out of pay. I think it's fairly ridiculous.
But here we are, in the midst of a shutdown.
Yeah, nobody cares. All right, so it's like a half hour, they were saying, in Detroit. So here they show 4 hours in Houston, and then it's a half hour in Detroit. So they make it like a big deal in Houston, but it's not like, oh shit, I'm not going to travel because I'm going to be 5-6 hours in line at the airport. No, it's a half hour. So I'm like, oh, okay, I can travel. But again, this is about the Democrats don't want ICE. So they say, we'll give you this if you take ICE away. And the Republicans are saying, no, we want ICE. What does that have to do with TSA? And the amount of money they spend, does it really matter? So it's like, why are they doing this? This is just bullshit, right? You pay the defense contractors $1 trillion. How much is it? And the bigger question is, why are these government employees? These should not be government employees. These should be a company, security. That's all it is security at the airport. So you should have a security company. There is one in San Francisco, they said. In the San Francisco TSA, there's no lines at all because it's a private thing. And that's why private always works better than the government. Why you keep the government the hell out of everything, because they're just, it's just bullshit. Oh, we have to have Congress vote on it. Fuck, just have a regular thing. And the cost is much cheaper in a private thing. But why just let the private company do it? And then, I don't know who paid. I guess the government would pay the private company or whatever. We're just add it to the ticket, add $5 for security, of which we don't need anyway. So, I mean, this is the problem. The government gets involved and it always goes to shit. But anyway, so depending on the airport, in Houston, apparently you're waiting 4 or 5 hours, probably depending on the time of day and the day. And with Easter coming up, everybody will be fucked Easter Sunday or Thursday or Friday, whenever you're leaving. So I would not travel Easter or in a plane, but the week after on a Tuesday is probably a half hour for TSA. But again, the government and the media has to control everything with their bullshit censorship. So they're going, oh, look, so what is this? So in a normal city, it's probably a half hour, especially if you leave at Tuesday at 10 in the morning, you're probably fine. It's probably more weekends when there's more travel. So that's good news. Not that I'm traveling, but I would like to maybe travel. Iran attacks Israeli power plant. And that's about it. Well, apparently, ban not allowed anymore. Airport security will compensate these 21 items in 2026. I'll have to watch that and report back. You can't take a watch on a plane? Really? No, not that anybody wears watches anymore because we have our cell phones, but I am curious what they're banning. Um, I'll have to watch that, make sure gold and silver is not being banned, but I don't think that would be. And like I said, I just put it in my, when I go, I'll have a couple of, let's say, ounces of gold, and I'll just put quarters with it, and I'll put it in my shoe and let them X-ray it, and they'll just see coins, and that's it. And they're not really looking for that; they're really looking for weapons. And what kills me is last time I met Jenna, I bought Crest toothpaste, and there was like a 3-pack. And oh, perfect! I'll give her 3 packs of Crest. But it was like 7 or 8 ounces, so it was too much. It's toothpaste. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make a bomb out of tooth. But if I have the 5-ounce one, it's okay, but not the 7 or 8-ounce one, the bigger thing. I'm like, these people on drugs. I can't take toothpaste. Again, Jenna wanted Crest. So I ended up getting, when I got there, I bought Colgate for her. She says, well, I have Colgate here. I wanted Crest. I said, they took it from me because I gave her a picture and I showed her I had it. And, but if you put it in your carry-on, they won't, you'd have to check the bag, then it would work. I'm not checking the bag. I'm at security now. So it's kind of like I go back and go to the counter and check my bag. What for? Anyway, it's just so stupid. Yeah, airline travel, that's anything the government gets involved in gets fucked up. And you can see it with baseball. I'm waiting for this analytic thing to call balls and strikes, and football with this replay challenge. It just screws up. You don't want to be reminded of the government, and that's the problem with football and baseball. Even in basketball, they went to a review that the guy hit him in the face, the St. John's guy. Why are you reviewing that? If you didn't see it, you can't like go down to a slow motion and say, "Oh yeah, he did hit him in the face. That's a flagrant foul." Well, if you got to do it in slow motion, yeah, he hit him in the face. I mean, it's so aggravating to watch. That's why it's so hard to watch sports. But I will watch this 21, and I will report to you tomorrow what the 20, if there's anything important, like a watch. Really? So I can't wear a watch on a plane, but I probably, if I check the bag, I probably can. But we'll see. I don't, if there was gold and silver in it, they would have said that. It would have been not the watch. Anyway, just this war is crazy. It's Middle East, and it's done on. Keep in mind, this is done on purpose. There's a script, and they're following it. And Trump might look like an idiot, but it's all scripted. They want to get rid of the U.S. air bases, which they've done. They've bombed them all. So the U.S. is sitting there and they're bombing their air bases, and they're going to let it happen. So this is one way to get rid of U.S. air bases. Israel, they hate, so they're bombing the shit out of that. We're not doing anything to Iran. Trump says we have naval and air force superiority. They don't have a navy and they don't have an air force. They have an army, and they have 1 million bombs. I heard they had 45,000 missiles, Iran. So you don't even know what kind of war you're playing, right? They have a good quarterback. You don't even realize it. We won't let them run. We've shut their run game down. Yeah, they got Dan Marino. He's throwing the ball every play. Yeah, but they're not running on us. That's Trump right now. We've shut their Air Force down, and we've shut their Navy down. And it's like they don't have one. We've shut their tight ends down. They don't use a tight end. That's how stupid he is, or how stupid he thinks we are. Anyway, good luck on the baskets. I will leave you for basketball. Again, today we're taking Illinois under, and we're taking Arizona minus the 5.5. And in the pros, we're taking Minnesota plus 1.5, Charlotte over 232. Those are the two bets. There's only 6 games in baskets. Baseball started up, but we can't possibly try to predict that. We could maybe take Seattle because Ric Flair is going today, Brian Wu, and that we know, but he was injured. So how healthy is he? Is he going to pitch 5 innings? Probably. And so we gotta wait and see. It's very hard to play the first couple of weeks. You want to get ERAs, and you want to see how they're playing, in the beginning. So we're not touching baseball now. That's it. Anything else? Any questions, comments? Anybody? McFly? Bueller? Anybody? Bueller? All right. Okay. So have a good day. Enjoy your baskets. Good luck if you're betting them. And again, I'm just betting small on them. It's not, this isn't football where I know like the back of my head. That's about it. My knee's a little bit better. And then it was decently warm outside. I could go out like this, so I'm going to do that. And I'll go to the pool later. Now, yesterday, because I couldn't really bend the knee, if I was in King of Games or whatever it's called, I wouldn't be able to bend my knee to the kings and queens. Today it's a little bit more benzy, but I was really good in the water. I was massaging my knee, and I was just kind of walking, and a light swim and a light walk and a couple of hot tubs, and it really helped. So anyway, I'm eating my avocado as a painkiller. It's a good killer. All right. Well, have a nice day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. And you can get my email there and questions and comments. I do get emails. I do respond. Pat, I hope you're okay. And in Singapore, let us know what's going on there. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day.